Deviator is a Metroidvania game that is currently in development and catching some heat for looking very similar to another Metroidvania game. If you haven't already seen, Deviator looks a lot like Hollow Knight. They both have eggs, they both have light up floors when you walk on them, they both have green areas, and enemies that look very similar. Just look at the hunter. I mean, come on, you can't tell me that this doesn't look like this. Visually, Deviator looks a lot like Hollow Knight, and it has been brought up by a lot of different content creators already. Kadia did a Deviator plagiarism tier list, Hogobro put out a video titled Is It Legal? And Fireborn created a video that went over the similarities between Hollow Knight and Deviator. And in that video, Fireborn reaches out to the devs of Deviator to explain how he felt about the similarities. The devs said they encountered many difficulties, in particular when building a map, we needed to consider the splicing and reuse of art materials in order to create scenarios with rich styles like Hollow Knight. They basically admitted to copying the art by saying splicing and reuse of art materials. It's been almost 2 months and I decided to reach out to the devs of Deviator to see if they could share any abilities or unique areas that look totally different from Hollow Knight. I'm just hoping that Deviator is not trying to copy Hollow Knight completely. Now, if you played the demo for Deviator, you'll know that the controls feel similar to Hollow Knight with the way the jump and dash work, but the parry mechanic and the counter attack feel much different. If anything, it feels closer to Grime. The Deviator dev team was nice enough to get back to me with 4 different videos, and we're going to go ahead and take a look now. In the first video, they say, in the prison area, all the circular saws were stuck and only spinning in place. After a player reached the room and activated the big switch, it was then that the trap system was back in full operation. So as you can see in this video, it shows the main character walking around the saw blade area. Everything is very much mechanical in nature. It does remind me a little bit of Hollow Knight with the Path of Pain, just you've got saw blades all over the place. The saw blades are moving around. Granted, they were stationary until you hit a button. Okay, slightly different there, but not by much. And also the background of the place, it reminds me a lot more of Crowsworn. Not that Crowsworn owns all the prison scenes, but that's just the feeling I get when I see this area. There is one thing that's unique in this area that I didn't remember seeing in Hollow Knight, and that would be the pressure switches, where the main character from Deviator is walking on a path and spikes are coming up from underneath. I like that idea, at least it's something that's different. Like the dev says, a switch gets flipped and this turns on the saw blades for the area to start making them all move. It makes navigation much more difficult, but also opens up new paths. We did see moving saw blades in Hollow Knight, but only for the difficult platforming areas like the White Palace and the Path of Pain. It's not so much in the normal exploration, so I wonder if this game's just going to be a little bit more difficult in general with the platforming. I don't know, we'll have to see. Overall, this area doesn't look like something exactly out of Hollow Knight, but there is that one enemy with the sword and shield that looks a lot like a husk warrior. That and the spinning saw blades paired with the spikes that come out from the ground or from the top, it looks very, very similar to Hollow Knight for the Path of Pain and the White Palace. And as a reminder, I specifically asked the devs if there were any abilities planned or if there was any art from different areas that would help break the mold in the comparison between Deviator and Hollow Knight, and this is just not it. In the second video, the devs say, in Mechanic City, enemies will drop special things called metal waste. Players can then use that to activate a gacha machine in the valley, which will generate random rewards. This is unique as Hollow Knight for sure doesn't have a gacha machine. Sadly, the lift and the enemies in Mechanic City look very similar to Silksong. As you can see in the start of this video, it looks like a mix between Green Path and then the cogs in the back remind me of Silksong. It's just, I can't get away from how much it looks to Team Cherry's artwork. In the upper areas of Mechanic City, it's very yellow, very cog heavy, but what's funny is a lot of these cogs don't even seem to be like connected in any way, shape, or form. They're just kind of there. And look, there's even pipes that go from the lower areas to the upper areas. I mean, I have a feeling that all of that's going to make sense with Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm very curious of how all of this will fit into the lore of Deviator. And then we see the main character using the gacha machine, and it works how you'd probably expect it to work, taking the scrap and then going ahead and getting something from the machine. It's interesting, unique, and different. I like this. I hope that they add more ideas like this that are just completely different from Hollow Knight. Alright, the next video, the devs say, the jellyfishes. We are making them more vivid, adding more animations, and let them carry more function. I do like seeing the jellyfishes holding the map. Looks interesting in my opinion. Again, it's just like the jellyfishes also came directly from Hollow Knight, so it's just like, it almost feels like every little thing as far as the artwork comes was taken from Hollow Knight. That said, the Academy is the first area that looks more original to me. I do love the stained glass, the pops of color, and the unique enemy that crawls on the ground. I will say that there's something about the butterflies in this specific color of blue that reminds me something of Hollow Knight. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I really like the way that the lasers move around the room and have them platform on and around them. It looks like it'll be very difficult and fun to navigate. Towards the end of this video, it looks like there is an area where you interact with something and that lights up one of the 6 blue butterflies that are some sort of lock that ultimately open up a door. I do like this idea of having to explore the area and find and open multiple different locks. Hopefully the map is done in a way that makes it easier to tell which areas we've already been to and which locks have already been opened, because that can get kind of funky if it's not done well. Also, the blue design on the floor looks similar to Pier Vessel floor, the way that it lights up when you walk in. Maybe not exactly the same, but similar enough. There's just so many little things like that that just like, I can't shake it. Lastly, there is another video of the Academy, and the dev said, in the Academy area, which is called Civiltius, something like that. There are a lot of rooms with moving lights to test players' jumping abilities. Also, the Deviator has unique double jump. I'm gonna just throw it out there. I don't know if there's such thing as a unique double jump. Most double jumps are just double jumps. I will say that this next video doesn't show too much different from the last video. We do get to see the double jump, and it looks like the Deviator is just kind of jumping off a black ball of some sort. Like it almost like puts a platform underneath it to be able to jump off of. It's a double jump. There's nothing wrong there. I mean, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you took a double jump from Hollow Knight. I mean, double jumps have been around for a very, very long time. It's just all of the other art pieces were spliced and reused. You can just feel it. You know what I mean? The artwork is the problem for this game in that it looks very similar to Hollow Knight. A lot of the background and stuff for this game looks like something that a fan would have done as part of a Hollow Knight fan-made demo or extension of Hollow Knight, which is something that we've seen. We've seen really, really cool mods of Hollow Knight that have come out that have added areas to the game, and this is what that looks like. Deviator looks like something that somebody who really enjoys Hollow Knight and wanted to add to the world of Hollow Knight, but they are now trying to sell it. And I don't know, it's something about it just feels a little bit off. I mean, I thank the devs for sending me the materials and stuff like that, and the videos to be able to make the commentary and look at it. I think that mechanically the game is going to be a lot different from Hollow Knight and from Silksong and other things. The way that the parry mechanic works, the way that they'll have the gacha machine, I'm sure even the exploration, and I'm hoping that maybe they even have their own ability, or maybe even a couple of their own abilities that make the game stand out and be really unique from Hollow Knight. Because as of right now, the artwork looks like something they have spliced and reused in order to just seem familiar and to grab onto people's like nostalgia of what a Metroidvania should be. I don't know. I personally, I'm not a fan of parry mechanics in general. Like, I did enjoy the game Grime, and it was helpful that in Grime you were able to increase the parry window, because I am terrible at doing parries. I have a feeling that this game won't be for me, specifically because it relies so heavily on the parry system, and you need to be able to parry in order to be able to heal. I'm not a big fan of the way that works, but that's just me. Also, the devs did say that FYI, the contents in these videos are not the final version. We're making adjustments and changes every week, which is fair. They're in development mode, and things are going to change. It would be nice if the art was one of those things that changed, because the way that the game feels right now, it feels very good. The controls are tight, the movement feels good, but yeah, as of right now, it's just that art looks so similar. So far, the developers' openness to feedback and their ongoing adjustments suggest a commitment to evolving Deviator beyond its initial impressions. Yes, the art style and some of the gameplay elements closely mirror Hollow Knight, possibly a little bit too closely. However, I'm hoping that the unique mechanics like the parry and counter attack system, the absence of the pogo attacks, and just Deviator trying to do new stuff will allow Deviator to find its own footing and kind of break away from Hollow Knight a little bit. At this point, we just have to see if Deviator can take the criticism from the community and change the artwork to not look so much like Hollow Knight. Otherwise, it's just going to live in the shadow of Hollow Knight forever. The other downside about this is that when games like Deviator copy so heavily from Hollow Knight, it just incentivizes other developers to do the same. Basically what's happening is all the controversy of copying Hollow Knight is just giving them free publicity from other content creators as well as myself, and now Deviator actually has quite a few people following the game, partially just because of the copied artwork. For now, I'm cautiously optimistic about Deviator's potential to offer a fresh take on the Metroidvania formula. The key will be how well they're able to balance the inspirations from Hollow Knight with new innovations to give us something familiar yet uniquely distinct. Did you play the Deviator demo, and what did you think of it? Did you enjoy the gameplay? Did it feel too much like Hollow Knight? I'd love to get your comments and reactions to the whole controversy of Deviator versus Hollow Knight. Thank you to my members for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Again, my name is Relyea, and I'll talk to you again more real soon. Thanks. Bye.